What's going on, YouTubers? I'm Kevin08015, and this is the Sons of Anarchy Season 5, Episode 1 review. Episode starts out, Jax is writing his own book, and they automatically meet with the cartel, and I'll just tell you the big parts. Clay admits to the club at church that he killed Piney, and for reasons that they couldn't understand and all this other stuff, and he said they have to take a vote on whether he stays or he goes. Then Jack said, this is something we all need to sit on, so we'll take the vote in a day or two. Um, right off the bat, Damian Pope shows, how big his dick is, and, and, he meets up with Leroy's guys, some Niners, guys that tried to take, the Suns' drugs that they were muling, and those guys fucked up. They didn't get the stuff, and the guys that did it were Niners, and they met up with Damian Pope, and Damian Pope's like, he goes and talks to his guy. This guy comes back over. He says, "Come here, I want to show you something." And he opens this thing in the ground, and he looks down, and you see Leroy's body lying in there with his brains blown out. And he's like, "Oh shit, is that Leroy?" He's like, "Yup." He's like, "Who's gonna be in charge now?" And he's like, "Well, you are." And he's like, "I ain't no Spider-Man, nigga." And he's like, "Well, get used to it. You're the new guy." So Leroy, that's body number one. The Niners meet back up later because Jax wants to meet with Damian Pope, and just Damian Pope's assistant shows up with the Niner guys, and he doesn't put all your guns on the trunk or on the hood of the car, so that's what they all do. And then Pope's assistant gives him a gun, the new president of the Niners, and he's like, "What do you want me to do with this?" He's like, "Kill Teller." So he's like, "Okay," and he puts it in his back. They all roll up, and Jax is like, "Where's Leroy?" And he's like, he'll be taking over for him. And Jax pretty much got that means he's dead. So he walked up when to go shake this guy's hand, and he wasn't shaking his hand. So after a while, a couple of seconds, this dude pulls out a gun and points it at Jax and shoots it, but there's no bullets in it. So Jax grabs the gun and punches him in the face, starts beating the piss out of him, and Pope's assistant was like, "Enough." And then he picks the guy up, the new president of the Niners, and Jax said, "I thought you said you did gun check." He's like, "I did." And then Pope's assistant shot the new president of the Niners in the head, and he died. That's body number two. And after his assistant leaves, Chib says to Jax, he's like, "Well, what the hell does this mean?" And Jax says, "This means Damian Pope gets to choose who lives or dies." So anyway, that going forward with it, another big part was Tig got a call, and first of all, he was all beat up because Clay just admitted that he's the one who killed Piney, and in return, Opie's the one who shot Clay, and he just said it was blacks to cover up. These are their words, by the way, people. That it was blacks to cover up the fact that Opie did. And Tig was beat up because he said that means I killed an innocent woman, and I would have killed somebody for something that they didn't do if I hadn't have missed and hit Leroy. But he was all beat up about that. Anyway, Tig got a call. Some detective said that they had Fawn for a DUI, or I'm sorry, not Fawn, Dawn, and he had to come pick her up. So Tig went by himself, and he meets up with this black detective, and he's like, "Where's Dawn?" He's like, and he points a gun at him. He's like, "Lean against the car." So he leans against the car and takes his gun out and he puts handcuffs on him. He says, "Now walk." He's like, "No, no, I'm not walking." And he's like smacked him across the face and forced him to walk anyway. And he handcuffed him to I think it was either a pipe or a fire hydrant. And Damian Pope rolls up and Tig's like, "Oh shit, man." So he gets out and Pope's smoking a cigar, and Pope's like, "You know what happens now?" He's like, "Yeah, you kill me." He's like, "Nah, that would be too easy." And he tells him to open up the thing that's in the ground, the thing that whatchamacallit was in, Leroy. And Tig looks down and he sees his daughter Dawn tied up, and she's not moving, and Tig's screaming, "Dawn, Dawn," and she finally like wakes up, and they start pouring gasoline in it, and he's like, "What are you doing?" And then Damian Pope's like, he's like, "Please, man." Tig tells Damian, he's like, "Please, just kill me, man, just kill me." He's like, "Why? Do you know how I feel already? Did you lose a kid?" And he just gave him a look like, "No, I didn't." So he's like, he gave him like a nodded like, "That's what I thought," and they threw a cigar inside of it, and he burnt Tig's daughter Dawn to death. And she was screaming, and so was Tig. Tig was in tears, and after a commercial, it came back, and they're still there, and he got down on one knee, and he said, "Listen," he's like, "the reason why we found out it was you is because you're wanted. You and some of the other boys in your club." He's like, "Detective here. It's gonna get the cleaner come down here and clean this all out." He's like, "Then you're gonna go back with him. You're gonna go inside. Whatever happens, happens." He's like, and then he's like, "This little thing that happened between us, you should keep it between us. I hate to see your daughter Fawn get hurt also." And he looked right at him and said, "I'm gonna cut your black head off." So the detective kicked him. Gemma and Clay had words. He said, "I'm not gonna say sorry and insult your intelligence." And he's like, "But I still love you and I always will." And then Gemma stood up and started crying, and he went to go put his hand on her shoulder, to be there for her when she's crying, and she like elbowed him in the chest, and he fell down, and she said, "Don't you ever put your hands on me again." And it was a crazy episode. What am I up to? 3 bodies now. Um, Dawn, Roy, other black dude, Dawn. Oh, here we go. Roy, other black dude, Dawn. Okay, there's 2 more. Oh yeah, alright. So Tig's in there and he gets out of the handcuffs. Well, he doesn't get out of them, but he gets them from behind his back. And I'm using the words Tig used here, I swear to God. If you haven't watched it already, watch it to show that I'm telling the truth. But this is exactly what Tig said to the black detective. He said, "I'm gonna kill all you niggers. I'm gonna kill each and every one of you." And the black detective said, "Oh, you gotta be shitting me with this." So he went to go beat him up some more, and Tig got up and he punched him in the gut and then turned him around and put the chain around his neck and choked him to death. And then he took the detective's gun out, and the cleaner was inside the thing cleaning the stuff out, and Tig loaded every bullet on that son of a bitch. And he just sat on the end. This is how we spent the rest of the episode. He sat on the edge of that thing, just staring into it, crying his eyes out. And then Chibs got a call from Unser saying that, or not Chibs, Jack's got a call from Unser saying that they're all wanted, and they already stopped at the shop, which means Jax's house was next. So Unser was telling him, "You, Chibs, you guys got to get the hell out of there now." So Gemma's like, "I know who you can go to." And she took him to Jimmy Smits, who, by the way, started this episode off banging Gemma Teller from behind. And she didn't know who he was. She got drunk, and the next morning she woke up and was like, "Where the fuck am I?" I mean, she got fucked up. And she got fucked up and fucked. But she woke up the next morning. She said, "What the fuck? Where am I?" And Jimmy Smith comes out. She's like, "Who the hell are you?" He's like, "We had sex last night." And he's like, "You really don't know who I am, do you?" And anyway, at the end of the episode, Gemma took Jax and Chibs, and I believe Bobby was there too, to this guy's place. He's a pimp, pretty much, a glorified pimp, and took him to his place of work, and, because the cops will never look there for him. So, pretty much the last thing left is, Answer was getting ready to leave, because Answer's been staying at Gemma's house, and Answer fed Gemma's bird, and he was getting ready to leave, and how they play the music, to end the episode like they usually do. Well, they were doing that, and the song ended, and he shut the light off, thinking that was the end of the episode, and then 3 black dudes bust through the door and knock Unser on the floor, and one of them starts beating the living piss out of Unser, and the other 2 are like searching for Gemma, and they end the episode with the dude beating the shit out of Unser just non-stop, and the Big Reaper came up, and we saw scenes for next week, and I'm not going to describe those to you. If you guys want to go see those, check them out on either tvfanatic.com or go to FX. They might have it on there too. So this review was definitely 5 stars, hands down. I don't even have to think about it. I cannot wait until next week when episode 2 comes out. It's going to be seriously a struggle for me, because this is my favorite show of all time. I've never liked the show this much, and cannot wait till next week. I'll see you guys next week. If you haven't watched Sons of Anarchy yet, do not watch this. Okay.